Okay, so this piece of paper you have tells you on each one of them to sketch and shade the region enclosed by the lines, and the word lines is bolded because you need to make sure you're actually graphing a line. When you graph something, how do you know when you look at it that it is a line? It is straight and has arrows on it, right? So you need to use a straight edge and make it long like a line. Like, don't just make a tiny little short thing and put a couple arrows on it. Like, draw a line, okay? Draw the line, either with, and use your ID badge or a ruler, some sort of straight edge, and put arrows on the end. That would make it a line. Now, this is similar to the beginning parts of what we did on Wednesday where we plotted points and we shaded in and got a polygon, but I just gave you points right then. Now I'm giving you lines, and so once you get that enclosed region, do not go back and erase it to make it just the polygon. The lines need to remain on your paper. Does that make sense to you? So you're just going to graph the lines that they give you, figure out where the enclosed region is, and shade that in, and that is literally all we are doing right now. But I want you to graph these lines. I want you to try and graph these lines in such a way that you are not making things more difficult on yourself. I know that you are madly in love with y equals mx plus b. It is time to kick him to the curb, all right? You're done with that. Unless you absolutely need to, do not waste your time and energy. There are way easier ways to handle things that are right in front of you. Plus, sometimes with that y equals mx plus b, you get weird fractions. Your y-intercept may not be a whole number. It may not even be on your graph, and you mess up. And most of the people that have not done what I have asked them to try today and just went ahead and put it in y equals mx plus b, put it in y equals mx plus b wrong. And it's not even hard. I'm not saying because it's so hard to do. It's pretty simple to do, but it's also very simple to mess up. So this line that you have right here, what form is that line in? Point slope. So this is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So it is already in a form that gives you plenty of information to graph the line. Oh, and by the way, the first thing says x equals 1. You need to change that to x equals 2. I changed all this stuff when I was graphing them and trying to make them do what I wanted to do, and I messed that one up. So change that to x equals 2. I already had them printed. So that's one line you got to graph. But then we're graphing this one. You should be able to, since it is in that form, know by just looking at it what an ordered pair is that's on that line. You can plot that point. Then you've got the slope, and then you count the slope, and you get another point, and bam, you can draw your line. Does that make sense? It's super easy. No y equals mx plus b anywhere. Now look at this on number 2. What form is that line in? That is so not y equals mx plus b. No. It's the ax plus by equals c. Does anybody know what that what's it? Starts with an s. Standard form. Yeah, it's standard form. It's okay. It's okay if you don't know the name of it necessarily, as long as you understand. It's fine. But it is in standard form. Does anybody know what standard form helps us find very quickly when we're graphing? Nobody all day has known, and it makes me want to cry. So what is it? And? Okay, the y-intercept and the x-intercept. And how do I get that from just pretty much looking at it? Kind of, but not exactly. And in this case, because now what she said was they're next to the letters. And in this case, it's going to kind of look like what she's saying is right just by the nature of the numbers in that problem. But it is a semi-coincidence, and it's not those numbers anyway, but it might get you confused with that. So the answer to that is, that's a good guess, but the answer is no to that. And don't have a misconception of that by what I'm about to show you. So if I want the y-intercept, it's an ordered pair, right? And it is it's on the y-axis, and it is the y value when x is what? 0. So if x is 0, this term gets zeroed out. So if I ignore this term, what I'm left with is just 2y equals 6, right? So if 2y equals 6, what does y equal? 3. So your y-intercept is 0, 3, and bam, that's 1 point. And I pretty much just did that by looking at it and covering it up. Your x-intercept is the x value when y is what? 0. So if y is 0, this term gets zeroed out. If you ignore this term, then you are left with 3x equals 6, which means x equals 2. So your x-intercept is the point 2, 0. There are your 2 points. You connect them, bam, there's your line. There was no y equals mx plus b. I didn't have to rearrange anything. You just understand what the intercepts are, and you can figure it out pretty easily by looking at it. Does that make sense to you? Not a bad idea to literally cover it up with your finger or your pencil or something, though, so that you understand what's happening there. And so do you see how we ended up with a 2 and a 3, but not the ones that were in front of the letters? And it's not like you can just look at it and switch them either. That's just a total coincidence on this one, so don't go there. But you're going to graph the lines, look at what is the area that is enclosed by those lines, and that's what you're going to shade in, and you can use the colored pencils for that. Okay, and then I'm going to come around and check them as you're doing them. I would highly suggest that you do this in pencil and not pen, because, you know, the people doing it in pen, you're going to mess up. That's just how life works. Nobody's perfect. Any questions? You understand what to do with this? All right, and then once you're done, you have it. I've checked it. You're good. It's glued in your ISN, and you are done. It says it's due on Tuesday. My intention wasn't to give you 2 days. I just don't see you on Monday, and you probably could finish before you leave today anyway. Okay, we good?